Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the program, Deputy Speaker fumes as Amaechi, General Irabor, IGP Alkali and others shun House of Representatives hearing on Abuja-Kaduna train attacks. And later on the show, Governor Buni hands over APC governorship chairmanship to Senator Adamu. I'll be hanging out with Babajide, Kolade-Otitoju and Sola Ojewusi. Journalists Hangout will begin. Gentlemen, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to do this with you again.
Nice to see you. Absolutely. It's always very nice to find myself in the midst of,
of people like you.
Cream like you. The cream of the society. All right, Journalists Hangout starts now. Let's begin on a note of justice. If we must rid our society of criminals, then vices and crime must be cast down in a root, stem and all. The mother of one Endurance Osarunwense, an alleged internet fraudster popularly called Yahoo Boys, the best Osarunwense, has been sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in Benin, the Edo State capital. Justice Shaibu of the Federal High Court in Benin found her guilty of one-count charge of aiding a son and receiving 91 million naira proceeds of his criminal activities. Bikil, well, that's a mother of a G-boy aiding and abetting a son.
Yes, it's a good decision on the part of the judge. We've got to begin to punish parents who see nothing wrong in their children stealing and bringing home the proceeds of theft. The Yorubas will say, "Omo shagbafo, onkashawale." Your son is not a dry cleaner, but he keeps bringing clothes home. You've got to ask questions. From where do you get all these clothes that you bring?
Right.
You know, you are not a washerman. You're as
to put it in a layman's term. Yeah.
Yes, you know, it's just fashionable to call every person involved in clothes cleaning business a dry cleaner. How much of dry cleaning do they do these days? You know, so at least this will serve as a deterrence, and that was what the judge said. Right. They didn't. They quickly pleaded guilty, but in spite of that, the judge said, "Look, I will still punish you people."
Yeah.
You know, 4-count charge. The sentence will run concurrently. So the punishment has been handed down. I think it's a good thing. These parents sometimes you see a parent attacking his own son and saying, "Can't you see what Abiola has done for his own parents? He's bought cars for them, he's built houses for them. You are just a good-for-nothing child." So this one, at least, will recalibrate the brains of some parents who, in their minds, believe that there's nothing wrong about advance fee fraud as long as the boy can bring home the money. So if you can enjoy some of the money that this boy brought and even connive with him, post as an entrepreneur, just like him, then the punishment, you should be prepared to share in the punishment as well.
Right, Sola Ojewusi, well, 91 million naira, it's no chicken feed. No. So where has our morality gone?
Well, I think we need to go back. Like Jide said, if you observe your children doing something evil, I don't know whether it's the situation in the society. You know, everybody wants to be seen being up there. Right. You want to, you know, a lot of razzmatazz. You also want to be seen as somebody who has arrived.
With the Joneses.
But in those days, I remember, just like he said, in this, I mean, maybe 70s, 80s, you had a lot of radio programs, jingles, telling you, you know, if you see a thief, you should catch the thief, or you accuse the thief of its wrongdoing, instead of, embracing. Just yesterday, a friend of mine told me of an incident in their church. You know, a 19-year-old boy, all of a sudden just came. Everybody knew the mother, the family, as a struggling family. All of a sudden, the woman just came to the church and said she was celebrating the fortune that the child has built a house somewhere outside Lagos somewhere, and they are moving into their house, and people were wondering, 19-year-old. But the boy's antecedents already gave people the kind of thing he must have done to get to that level. 19, building a new house, a 4-bedroom flat. Where did he get just getting out of secondary school? What trade, what business, what commitment.
Controlling.
And the mother came to celebrate such fortune.
He knows the way.
So what happened, with that judgment, I think some parents will begin to see. But we need to, like you said, jig our attitudes to situation. There is a lot of moral decadence, a lot of things happening, people getting involved. It used to be Yahoo. It's not even getting so diabolic that people are talking of Yahoo plus committing murder,
ritual,
a lot of rituals.
So and all
we
of
need to reset our brains to understand that, yes, the virtue of hard work, we have to return to those days when people will see you working hard. You cannot be, like they say in the song, you cannot bring, sacks of cocoa into the house, selling it when nobody ever knew you as either a farmer or somebody who, had been doing a kind of thing. It has to be questioned. If the parents are not ready to question the kind of movements of their children, that's the kind of things you see.
They should be also
and you
ready
see
to
a mother condoning such things because of the exhaustations and all those things you see around money. It has to be corrected.
That's unfortunately.
And, we need to move beyond what.
Absolutely, that's unfortunately where we found ourselves. Yes. Just like you gentlemen have both recommended, we need to really go back to our Omoluabi concept, which we know in this side of the country. Yeah. Right, so let's move on. Keeping men of the Nigerian police away from extortion, another one, and brutality can be likened to trying to keep the cat from the meat. A daunting task, they say. In another display of rascality, some police officers allegedly abducted a music producer, Emmanuel Chibuze, in Lagos and forced him to wire 1.2 million naira to them. The spokesperson of the Lagos Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyin, confirmed that the police are on the case and the officers involved in the extortion have been identified. Because this is very similar to what we discussed earlier on, but this is coming from the law enforcement agents themselves, and it happened, right there in our backyard.
Yes, you better be careful when you are going home. they don't want to know whether you are a journalist or not. On the agro days, they can grab anybody. My friends in the police have plenty of bad eggs, and those bad eggs let down the qualitative policemen that we have. It's such a shame. If you, do these guys reason at all? Have they got brains? Because you should know that when you are getting a POS operator to take money out of someone's account, that you are going to leave a trail.
It's traceable.
This is not the first time. On some cases, they would take people to an ATM point and force the person to withdraw money and give them. If they get hold of you during one of their patrols, they can take you to an ATM point and tell you, withdraw this money or transfer to us. You are asking somebody to send money to you electronically. Did it not occur to you that the evidence will be right there? It says a lot about even the quality of brains of some of the people.
No, this guy, I think they're actually clever by half by using a POS.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Once you take that money from his account, you are leaving a trail.
It's traceable.
Whether it's POS that you use or not, you are leaving a trail. So you don't even know how to cover your tracks. This is not the first time. I'm saying that in the past they are taking people, at gunpoint to ATM and force them to withdraw. And every time they did that and they were reported, it didn't take the police a long time to identify the culprits. But they just won't stop. These are the kind of things that push people to embark on NSAS. Brutality and needless extortion like this cause people to embark on this NSAS protest. Yes, painfully it came with destructions and all that. But the idea was to protest the irresponsible behavior of some policemen. Then you kill people without trial, you turn yourself to judge and executioner. These were the things that pushed people to protest in form of NSAS.
Right. Shola Ojewusi,
Yes.
well, this is also another scary news that we're getting from this law enforcement agency. Are you also scared?
I'm scared, but I think it's sad that we are not only producing criminals within the fold of those who are supposed to be fighting criminals. We're also producing dunces, because it's only dunces that would do that kind of thing. You take somebody to the POS and you think nobody can trace it. Something happened to me recently. It's from in-house. I had somebody I trusted with my ATM card to go and maybe sometimes to collect money from me. I gave her the PIN. But somewhere along the line, maybe that gave her the impression that she could just, and then maybe she wanted to do something and she felt she could just do it scot-free. As she went there, as soon as she started withdrawing, I got alert. In fact, I was able to trace the 3 places because they were so close by, and the numbers. Once I got there, I confirmed that was this money taken from me or something. It was confirmed. These are supposed to be law enforcement agents who should know the procedures of criminal investigations. They should know that these are things that are easily traceable. But doing it then begins to make one wonder, what kind of training do we have going on within the police force, that these people don't even know the tenets, the procedures of the kind of profession they are into. Right. They do things haphazardly. That's why even people pray that you should never, there is a prayer, whether guilty or not, we pray that we'll never have issues with police, because the whole thing is so disorganized that even when you are right, you get, you're looking for justice, but what you get, something else. Because the people who will arrange, who will do this thing, who you are putting your trust on, are just not reliable. So let me say this, we need to do a lot of reorientation of the police force. Sometimes ago, you have policemen waylaying traders. They were traveling from Ondo State to Kogi State. And in the middle of the night, because those people were carrying plenty money, those traders, we call them Alajakpa. And you know what they did? They shot dead all the traders and took their money. But luckily, one of the traders, one of them was able to, was not killed. So that was how they were able to catch these people, and they were all sentenced to death. What kind of police are we breeding in Nigeria that law is being turned upside down? So whoever is in charge has a lot of things to perform to make sure that we reform the police. The police
whether we ban SARS or not, bad eggs still abound in the police. Yes, we know that in any profession there are bound to be bad eggs, but the police have a duty to identify the bad eggs within their ranks and push them out of the system, because they are giving gallant police officers who are laying down their lives in fighting crime, they are giving them a bad name.
As a matter of fact, the fact that we could even see that with among them who is the most decorated police officer, we know what he's facing at the moment. So it shouldn't be no surprise to any of us at the end of the day. All right, let's move on to the main issues for discussion. First is the Abuja-Kaduna train attacks, which jolted many of us into action, albeit belated. Members of the House of Representatives are miffed over a botched meeting on Wednesday with security chiefs and ministry officials over the attacks. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Idris Wase, berated the Minister of Transportation, RotimiAmaechi, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Irabor, the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, and other officials for failing to appear in person before the ad hoc committee set up to investigate the bombing of the Kaduna-Abuja train and the attack on the Kaduna airport. So rather than appearing in person before the committee for the meeting, the invited officials sent representatives. Let's hear from the Deputy Speaker.
I'm constrained as a Deputy Speaker to continue the meeting because the accounting officers are the ones that are supposed to be here while you give them the necessary support. So we cannot proceed. And I'm saying with heavy heart, no matter the assignment our generals are handling, I believe the parliament requires a listening ear.
All right, Vicky, I'll start with you. I think the latest information that we got was that they've actually postponed it to Tuesday to meeting with them. But this, was the Deputy Speaker quite livid at this particular fact that they didn't show up. What did you make of it?
And it's not the first time. It's not the first time. The executive has to speak to the people who work with him. That's the president has to speak with the people who work with him, because disrespecting the National Assembly should not be tolerated. This president needs the support of the National Assembly to succeed, and they've always provided that support. Right. At least when you compare this set of federal lawmakers with the last set, they got a lot more cooperation this time around. The president got a lot more cooperation. Right. Therefore, it makes no sense for people who work with the president to be seen to be disrespecting an arm of government that's provided the president much more than he could have imagined by way of support. So it's unacceptable. Maybe the timing, the timing was not too good for them. Maybe they needed more time, because they too would probably be gathering information. Yeah. And some of these chief executives, these big men, they usually don't have the facts at the disposal of their juniors. So they need to debrief their juniors sufficiently before going before these people, So naturally, they will probably need more time. People have been saying, Amaechi said they need some gadgets, this and that. It cannot cost that much. It's possible that someone suggested among the staff of the Minister of Transportation that, look, it could cost this much. The minister has not found time on his own to even investigate.
So are you trying to make a case for them? You make an excuse for them?
No, what I'm saying is they most of the time don't have the information that their juniors have. Okay. So they need time to debrief those people sufficiently before they go to face these people. Okay. What I will not encourage is for them to not face them, because they are doing their oversight function. You have to go and face them. You must show respect to them. I said that earlier, that the president must mandate them to go there. We want to solve a problem, and the key to solving the problem is not with the executive alone. These guys too, they can also chip in some suggestions to help us get there. Yeah. So you cannot disrespect an arm of government that has been very supportive to you. You need loans, you go to them, they approve those loans, even despite public outcry against continuous borrowing. You still approve your loan. So you must not permit your aides to disrespect them. But when you fail to face them and you now send juniors, you have disrespected them. It's you that they want to see. You are the accounting officer, you are the decision maker, you are the directing mind. So this is the way it should be. I will be happy to see RotimiAmaechi and others eventually face these people. We are talking about securing the airports. Adisirika has to come up with his own suggestions. As a pilot, as an aviator, he has much more experience than the ordinary man. He has to say, okay, within this sector,
Right.
I believe that these are the methods that will work. That's why you need such a meeting. Before they now take their decision, maybe they will do environment to enable us find the money to buy some of the things that maybe they will appropriate money, emergency for make emergency funds available for us to solve this problem.
Right. Let me move it to Sola Ojewusi. Well, these are public officers, just like BK had actually mentioned, but it tantamounts to shunning Nigerians, do you think?
Yeah. Jide is right to a level. You need to find out what actually happened. You need to get your information right. But the very time you send somebody there as a proxy, that means whatever that person is saying is representing you. So why do you need to send a proxy? For something this important, to me, it smacks of official rascality. These are the lawmakers, and they invite you to come and explain. There is nothing bad if you don't have all your facts right. You can tell them, okay, this is what we have done. We have done this much. We are still trying to get more information. But I'm here in deference to the House that this is what is happening. But it's getting too frequent for officials to shun. No, you don't do that. In civilized societies, the rule of law demands that every arm of the government has its role. By not doing it, it's part
and
of
as a matter of fact, the checks and balances.
So you should be able to go there, explain. Sending somebody means it's representing you. So what he's going to say is what you are going to say. So what stops you from going there?
All right.
So I think we need to understand it's okay. We are developing. Our democracy is still relatively young, but the future generation will watch what we are doing. Even your children will wonder if you have to. I mean, you are asked to do things right, and you don't want to do it, you are living a very bad precedence. We have to learn when to draw the line.
Right.
And I think that's my opinion on that. Yes.
All right, so we'll continue on these notes. And as a matter of fact, looking at the fallout of these attacks and some of the attacks that actually followed suit. We'll take a break this time. Do stay with us on Journalists Hangout. We'll be back soon. Thanks for staying with us here on Journalists Hangout on TVC News. I've been speaking with Babajide, Kolade-Otitoju, and Sola Ojewusi. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for also, being here. So let's continue with the Abuja-Kaduna train attacks, where the House of Representatives invited the account officers, ministers, and all that without showing up. But let's dig deep into the incident itself. Recently we got to hear that some of the bandits have actually contacted the family of the kidnapped victims, but they've not demanded for ransom yet. But with all of these destruction attacks here and there, do you feel that the current administration is having its legacies destroyed right before their own eyes?
Yes, and I've said that repeatedly. You can praise the administration for the job that is done in terms of infrastructure, but I tell you, if the administration doesn't move quickly to solve this insecurity, the issue of insecurity, it is by that insecurity that it will be remembered. This is a fact. As a historian, I know that history has been unkind to some administrations that I saw actually do well in many areas. But people will hold on to something. They won't talk about the infrastructure. They will talk about, look at IBB, for example. In terms of infrastructure, I've not seen a Nigerian leader that perform like IBB. And I'm saying this with a high sense of responsibility. In terms of infrastructure, during the time that he had. But when you mention IBB, people will talk about June 12.
June 12 overshadowed.
Yes, they'll talk about June 12. That's what people will say. And that was the man that built that third mainland bridge, that at one point was the longest bridge in Africa before the bridge in Egypt overtook it. You know, if we are to build that third mainland bridge in today, do you know how much it will cost? You know, but that was the man that gave it to us. The Abuja-Kaduna expressway that the government is rebuilding now, that was the man that did it. He was the one, he delivered Abuja to us. And the roads in Abuja are the best in the country till today. Some of them are about 40 years, they are still, those roads are still standing up. Those Abuja roads. You know? So, but today, they remember him for Gulf War windfall that is accused of mismanaging. They remember him for June 12. Even when he had this bad day that we were talking about some of the achievements.
Right.
People misinterpreted. When you are a figure that people don't like, a hated figure, they don't even want to see your good side. They will talk about the negative. And I've advised this government, defeat this insecurity. Find a way to defeat this insecurity, especially this banditry. Banditry in the northwest and north central. And even some parts of the south and southeast. Defeat it. Give yourself immortality. Don't give these guys a chance to rubbish your legacy. Because those who are destroying rail tracks now and attacking trains, they are trying to destroy people from boarding trains.
Yes.
Those who are going to airports to stand on the tarmac with AK-47, what are they trying to do? To stop air travelers. So what do we then do? We've left the roads for them.
Even to fly is another
of course it's a concern now. If those boys can just walk onto the tarmac in Kaduna, what if they fired at a plane while airborne? So there's the reason, the infrastructure that you've delivered had huge costs. They are now even destroying them. That means that you must not spare these guys. You've got to crush them. You've got to exterminate them without delay. Right. Otherwise, they will do worse things.
Okay, well, shall I just say, House Leader Al-Hassan Ado-Doguwa urges federal government to allow Nigerians, to bear arms in defense against bandits. Would you also subscribe to that?
Well, every suggestion, no matter how good it is, also has its own side. I mean, the flip side.
Yeah.
If you watch what happens elsewhere where people bear arms and the tendency to misuse it, some people will say no. We might not have seen the other side, that's why. But there are some people who have the responsibility to do these things. Are you going to say that everybody that enters a train in Nigeria will have to carry arms to be able to do that? There are certain statutory responsibilities given to the armed forces, the security agencies. Have we really given them enough opportunity to really discharge these duties? Let me tell you, like Jide said, this train service is a very beautiful thing. I don't know if you've traveled Lagos-Ibadan. I've not done Abuja-Kaduna. But if what I've seen Lagos-Ibadan...
By road or by rail?
By rail.
Okay.
It's a very excellent service. There are hiccups, definitely. But when you compare with international standards, I think we're getting there. It's so beautiful because the construction of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway made that place a no-go area for so many of us. But at least several times in the past 6-7 months, I've taken that rail service and it was quite good. And enjoyable. You sit down, you relax. The facilities are beautiful. When you enter the train, you want to praise the government. I mean, if there is something you are going to say about the government that is good, this is one of the good things that the government has discharged. And you have to commend them for that. But that good thing is in danger of being rubbished.
Right.
Because let me tell you, I was contemplating traveling to Ibadan.
Could you hold your thoughts?
Yes,
We've got Dixon from Makode who is joining us. Dixon, well, the ball is in your court. Make your point.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Babajide, thank you.
Good evening.
Many times I came to this program and I did not see you on sheet. I get down. Thank you for the good job that you have been doing.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to make a little contribution. Now, concerning this train attack, on Abuja-Kaduna road,
Right.
since the movement of this train on that road, does it really suggest that federal government did not actually, envisage this security check concerning issues like this before putting train on those roads, on those tracks? Now that the terrorists have seen that movement on that Kaduna and Abuja road are beginning to shift somehow to the rail, to begin to suggest to the federal government that yes, there is a need for a security check or a security beef up of that train track.
All right. All right, Dixon, your point is made. Thank you very kindly. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want you to pick up from where you left it very quickly.
What I was saying, we need to find a way of guarding this kind of legacy. I interviewed a lot of people on the trip, and everybody was saying something good about this government. There may be other things, but there is something in terms of infrastructure, like Jide said. People, they enjoyed it, and they are happy. But now there is a danger. I told somebody I'll be coming to Ibadan. Are you coming by train or by road or what? The fear element.
Yeah.
What the terrorists, what they are stuck in trade is to instill fear in the people,
in the minds
so
of
that
people.
the good ways of life that we have, they want to rubbish it. They don't want us to enjoy our ways of life. Right. And when citizens cannot enjoy their ways of life, people will protest.
Okay.
So the government has a great duty to perform in making sure that these tracks are secured. Amaechi has complained about certain things.
Right.
He said he made some requests for surveillance gadgets or whatever to be able to secure. Are we looking deeply into that? I heard the president has done some things about that. He has directed. But this is a very clear and present danger that we have to, because these people did it before. Now it's been repeated. I think they are already fixated on that particular Abuja-Kaduna, and we have to do something about it.
Right.
Everything necessary. Otherwise, we continue to have the same vicious circle, and I don't think it's the best.
Well, we know that we'll keep continue to talk about this. We don't want to see people being killed, just like chicken in the country any longer.
Well, that's not. There was so much attention paid to what happened along that route. Maybe because there are some rich people, they use this train. But in one day, in one local government in Kebbi State, 88 persons were killed.
Oh dear.
And it didn't elicit this level of outrage. We have to defeat insecurity. It's a total job. It's not limited to what's going on along that route. We should not just secure the rail tracks. Innocent people traveling by road across that expressway, along that expressway, they also deserve to be protected. So, if we are to deploy technology to protect our people, we should do it in wholesome manner, not simply
focusing
to
on one
protect
angle.
people, train travelers and all that. No, it has to be a complete, because once you fix that problem, that particular problem, they'll move to somewhere else. That is their nature.
Yeah, they're causing a lot of distractions here and there, but we want to believe that the government will get right on their feet to ensure that this is done. Let's move to our last discussion for today, which is a new lease of life at the National Secretariat of the ruling All Progressives Congress. At its national convention on the 26th of March, a new chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu from Nasarawa State, emerged as the new APC national chairman. The change of baton is now complete as the chairman of the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee and Governor of Yobe State, Mai Buni, handed over the mantle of leadership to Senator Adamu. Let's share the story by TVC News' Habib Alawal with you.
After several postponements, the APC last weekend held its elective national convention at Eagle Square in Abuja. At the end of the exercise, 77 national officers emerged, with Abdullahi Adamu becoming the national chairman of the party, while Iyola Omishori was elected as the national secretary. Majority of them were elected through a consensus list adopted by President Muhammadu Buhari, governors and other leaders of the party. Of the 36 officers in the NWC, only 5 were contested, while the rest emerged through consensus. Newly elected national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has been officially handed the leadership of the party. He urged other executive members to imbibe the virtue of loyalty to the party.
Failure is not going to be in our vocabulary from today. We will work for success by the grace of God. If any of you, my colleagues, have any problems with me, please don't begrudge me. Throw it out open. Let me know. I promise you the spirit of collective leadership, teamwork. I cannot deliver alone.
As members of the National Working Committee of this party, you have an Herculean task before you. First, to sustain the gains, and obviously, you know, the task before you is enormous. But that cannot be without problems here and there. But by and large, we have succeeded. We can say we have recorded 70% success.
Governor of Yobe State, Governor Buni, who has been at the helm of the party affairs for about 22 months, handed over today. Governor Buni had faced some challenges as the chairman caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee of the party in the last few months. The new leadership says it will effect lasting reconciliation among members so as to go into the general election a united house. Habib Alawal, TVC News, Abuja.
Yeah, there you have it. Let me start with you, Ojewusi. Well, do you think the new chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, will hit the ground running?
He has no choice. Their presidential and other primaries are just around the corner. And he has to really show leadership. I think they've done a good thing in being able to, despite all the fears, the implosion and all those things, but they've been able to show some level of class in being able to arrive at what we have all seen. There is a new, exco in place. I think the other party has been put on its toes to be able to replicate what we have seen. So I think it's a good thing for him. He has something to really look up to. But he has, like you rightly said, hit the ground running. There is no time for them. There's still a lot of reconciliation. You have to bring a lot of people. There are some people left Eagle Square unhappy. And if you really want to maintain a strong party, you have to make sure that all hands are on deck to face the huge challenge ahead. They have a very hard battle ahead. I know a lot of things to do to convince Nigerians why they can continue. So he needs to really take the bull by the horn and start working. But I think with his pedigree, his experience, former governor, distinguished senator, he has the network.
He's actually been in the opposition
with
before
also
now.
the presidential backing. He has the machine. So I think that
he has said he won't disappoint the president. But BKO, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, the new APC chairman, said a month ago, I never thought I would be chairman. So what are the challenges do you see ahead of him?
He was given a job to reconcile aggrieved party members. I'm sure that in his heart of hearts, he knows that he failed in that duty. He failed in that duty. All of those major issues remain unresolved. As we speak, there are cases in court in respect of even the conduct of congresses of the party. I know some disagreements within the APC that are almost 80 years old. that remain unresolved as we speak in some states. So Abdullahi Adamu was given the job of going around and resolving those disputes before the convention. With his own mouth, he came out to tell us that, look, that they even needed time. By saying they needed more time, he was telling us that he had not achieved much within the time that he had. So if you are asking me about issues in APC states, I can count no less than 7-8 states where they still have serious issues. The convention alone cannot cover all of the issues that are on ground, except somebody is a talented hypocrite. The convention alone cannot obliterate those issues. You've got to sit down with people. You've got to get people to realize that, look, this is one party. Let's put our differences aside, especially as the elections are approaching. We have less than 1 year to the elections. If you allow the crisis to continue right up to election time, then expect some consequences. I've said this kind of thing before that people didn't believe me. Where I warned them, resolve this crisis or you lose. And on the eve of election, seeing that those crises had not been resolved, I said decisively, in this state, APC will lose because of internal crisis. They still have such situations on ground. So he has, and with elections so close, with primary so close, I know he will have his hands full. If APC had an excellent conflict resolution structure and mechanism in place, they wouldn't have waited until this long before trying to resolve issues. Look at Sokoto, for example. What's going on in Sokoto is an embarrassment, you know. And as you said, even as you said at the convention, some people burst into tears. Some people left. Some of the chairmanship aspirants left the place as soon as they announced that they were stepping down. If they were happy, they would stay right up to the end. So there are those issues that need to be resolved, and he has to be careful. He has said that, look, if that people should be free to talk to him. Governor Buni too also said, look, let's have teamwork, let's have unity. Governor Buni has done his best for the party. He engineered the re-registration of party members, and they have 41 million people now registered as APC members. He's brought some heavyweights into the party. He's left the party strong in terms of heavy hitters. The party is strong now. But of course, he couldn't solve all the problems. Can you tell me, you look at Zamfara, for example, this Zamfara state, can you say the APC, if it leaves the problems unresolved, that it can boast that it will win the election? With people like Marafa, people like Yari not happy with the governor? Those two individuals are the most powerful and the most popular in that state, Marafa and Yari. So this new chairman must go and solve those problems. Otherwise, they won't find it funny.
Well, these are mountainous, so to speak, kind of uphill task for the incumbent APC chairman. Remember on the day of the convention, you know, afterwards, somebody said he had spent even up to like 300 million naira campaigning, buying forms and all that. And a lot of people like that, just like you also said, some people staged a walkout. So 2023 is just around the corner, less than 11 months or thereabouts. So do you think the APC would still be, standing tall during this time?
Well, I won't be able to judge for them because they know, I mean, we are neutral here. The other party, just that they should know, but they should know that there's somebody around the corner who wants to take that job from them. When you have, and there is nothing we can say, we have to agree that the opposition is very formidable. When you are facing such a formidable opposition, you cannot take chances. They should remember, the chairman of APC must know that they still have legal tussles. We know what's happening in Ebonyi, what will likely happen in Zamfara. And also, we're talking of Cross River. So I don't envy the chairman, but like Jide said, all those deep fault lines, they have to find a way of blocking the loopholes. You have to go around, reach out to the aggrieved members, because if there is no unity, no matter what you want to do, you cannot achieve anything. And it's also to tell you that you have to convince Nigerians. It's his duty now to convince Nigerians how and why we have to bring them back to government.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And if you don't do it right, I mean, it's obvious now that I'm happy because the level of opposition is strong enough, so we have a choice. So it's left to him to be able to decide, and not him alone. He has to work with others.
I think
there has to be unity of purpose.
I think also the convention.
We've got a caller,
Okay.
Peter from Jalingo. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Make your point.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, I want to comment on your last topic, please. Babajide, please, I believe if for your advice on the government, though they don't listen, but I believe that more choppers will help, because there are some American choppers that carry more than 10 troops. If they for quick response, because sometimes they complain that the terrain, before they move to the terrain, but with chopper, that if they invest on choppers, at least 10 choppers can carry up to 100 soldiers. With drones, they locate. For quick response, they respond with choppers. Because one thing that I've got them is not listening, but they will keep telling them, maybe one day they will hear and rescue Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just make a quick point.
Yeah.
He made a valid point. If we hear that bandits are somewhere terrorizing people, we have to have a kind of rapid response structure that ensures that even if we need to drop paratroopers at that location, we'll drop them and they'll go and deal with these guys. So the response time usually is too long. During that time, they will have killed people, they will have moved people into the forest. Look at what happened this time. They are taking people into the forest, and a lot of the people will probably die because they can't walk all the way from that place to Niger. Because they won't keep them in Kaduna there. They are taking them all the way to Niger on foot. So it's not easy.
Right, BK, well, let's wrap on our, on our thoughts on the very last topic we're having, the APC. So a lot of candidates.
I wanted to add that the presidential primaries of the party is very crucial in determining the future of the party.
let me put that into the question I want to ask you so that you respond to it, simultaneously. We know that there are consensus candidates. One of them is the chairman. Is it possible that for the primaries they will also want to go for the consensus, candidate for the presidential and other positions?
APC has never decided its presidential contest by consensus. APC has never. People is too coveted a position for you to imagine that you can achieve consensus. Even when majority of party members wanted Buhari in 2014, when we wanted power shift to the north, what did we see? Okorocha contested against Buhari. Ndaisaya contested against Buhari. So at the end of the day, it became a contest, not a consensus thing. I don't see the chairmanship, the presidential candidate of APC emerging by consensus. It's too coveted for that to happen.
All right. Well, unfortunately, the time
and
has
it shouldn't be forced on the party. Let them contest. Whoever is strong, let the person win. Let the people choose who will be their standard bearer. Don't force anybody on them.
Very quickly, we're out of time. Shola Ojewusi, just in 30 seconds, your final thoughts.
Well, our society needs to be, the moral decadence that's happening that led to the kind of jail terms getting to the women. We have to address that. And our leaders should need to know, that the rule of law is very important. If you are, if you are a part of the executive, you should defer to the House of Reps or the National Assembly because it's their duty. Though if there are issues, you should let them know what issues are. There is no, I mean, that's what we talk about, transparency. So we should do everything to make sure that our nation gets better.
Absolutely.
That's my way.
Absolutely. Getting the nation, making the nation a better place and, you know, enviable among its committee of nations is something that we're really very much interested in on this program. That's all on Journalists Hangouts. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11 p.m. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Bye for now and God bless Nigeria.